Hello, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Really excited today, actually. We are receiving a very good friend of mine and serial entrepreneur, Nicolas Deflaux. Nicolas Deflaux, he lives in Dubai. He has a lot of things to tell us. He's been an entrepreneur for over a decade now, and he knows Dubai inside out. He's been here for a very long time, and I want to make sure I ask him all the questions that you know one can think of, and hopefully will benefit from his experience, and you guys will benefit from his experience. So without further ado, hello Nico.
Hello Hamza, hello everyone.
How are you?
Amazing, thank you very much.
Excellent. So Nico, tell us a little bit about you, because I know you very well. We've been friends for, we stopped counting, but yes. Tell us a little bit more about you. So what should we know about you? What's your background?
Yes, Hamza, we've been friends for about 15 years. We met in London. I think we both started working in the recruitment industry together in London. That's how we met.
Pretty much,
yeah. After, I think it was 2 or 3 years, I decided to move to Dubai first. I think you follow like about a year after. For work opportunity originally. I went on vacation. I saw this amazing country, absolutely booming. And the weather was beautiful. There was a lot of other nice activities to do on the side, and I saw great business opportunities. It was like the beginning of something that became like absolutely amazing today. Wow.
So look, you are into the recruitment industry. You've been in the recruitment industry throughout, from beginning to end. You started in London and pursued it in Dubai, and you have set up. When did you set up your first recruitment company? Your first company, actually.
Sure. So it's important to note that there is a background behind. I worked for someone in recruitment industry for quite a while. In UK first, working on French-speaking countries. All my clients were based over there, so I learned recruitment there. And there was an amazing school that would have not allowed me to basically set up a business without this experience. Yes, when I first arrived here in Dubai, I get offered a contract job to work for Du. Du is a local telecom operator here that allowed me, of course, to join the team as an internal recruiter. And to learn more about the country, the market, the economy, and help me also discover there were some real opportunities business-wise. That was one of the main factors that made me decide to set up my own business. Also, a real gap in the market.
Excellent. And then I think that before you before you actually become an entrepreneur, before you launch your recruitment company, I think you had a comfortable position. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I had, as I said, I finished the first contract that was very successful, working for probably one of the best, the fastest growing companies here in the UAE, which was Du at the time. And after that, I had the opportunity to work for the government as a recruitment manager. I was managing a team of about 5 people. That gave me a different perspective. I was going from semi-private to governmental entity. And working with different suppliers, recruitment agencies, I saw how low the quality of service was coming from Europe. And that's what really motivated to move ahead, take a risk to set up my own business.
And now you obviously left a comfortable position to set up a business where you wouldn't have necessarily a salary, where you could lose everything you've invested. How was the thought process? Because for a lot of people, and I can completely understand that, for a lot of people, that's not natural to do that. What made you decide, like leaving comfort zone and working safe position, etc., in Dubai, towards uncertainty, big leap forward, big risk ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I could picture in my head the way it was going to be done and the added value that I could generate and bring to this market. So there was a kind of reassurance because I knew exactly, I pictured and visualized in my head exactly what needed to be done step by step and what I would offer to make a real difference. So Having experienced both as a supplier prior to moving here in the UAE and as a client using the same supplier, the picture was very clear. Also, keep in mind that I was not married. I had no other financial commitments. So, in all honesty, the move was a little bit easier than someone who has like financial commitments, a family, wife, and kids that need to go to school, and schooling is kind of expensive here. So I was in the right situation at the right time. So
yeah.
It was still a little bit scary because I had like other job offers that were absolutely amazing, where I could earn like an amazing salary with amazing benefits, working for the most reputable organization, which were local, who became international afterwards, as a head of recruitment. It was very prestigious. It was very comfortable, but I don't know, working as an employee for me, I think it's a question of personality as well. Was not what I was looking for entirely. And I felt like my gut feeling was telling me to build something, to offer something that didn't exist, to really like create some values to a market that were dying to have this kind of value and this kind of services.
Wow. So you created your recruitment company, and you obviously, had this experience of 360-degree experience where you worked as a client, as a supplier. You've seen it from both sides, two sides of the fence. But when you jumped into entrepreneurship, your own recruitment company, was it easy or as easy as you thought it would be? Tell us more about this.
So as an employee waking up every morning and going to work, people complain about it. But it took me a good 5 to 6 months to set up my own business. And I remember, sorry to my listeners, I'm going to go a little bit private here, but I remember waking up into my apartment in my boxer shorts, making myself a cup of coffee and working from my computer. People think that, oh, this is a dream. But after a few months, that comes with challenges, you miss walking into an office, a busy office, saying hi to your friend, exchanging few jokes. This social context was really missing. And even though I was working on my pitch, my business plans, my financials to try to really structure my business to avoid failure, because I think if you look at I don't have the figures in mind, but the percentage of startups that fails during the first year of business is huge. I think it's only like 10% of startups, on the top of my head, the information to double check, but the risk was huge. And I saved a little bit of money. I can share these figures, it's not a big deal. And I had the choice of either buying a property to secure my future, or invest this money into setting up a business and hopefully would show me a higher return on investment and give me this feel as an entrepreneur.
Wow. Okay. And I mean, how difficult was it in your mind? You talked about the social interaction that you were missing. What other challenges? I mean, I know that most of the time people struggle in terms of finances, because I guess you didn't start earning money from clients from day one. Am I right?
Yeah, it was even worse. Actually, I structured everything, getting the right approval, the right licensing, finding the right way of setting up the business took a lot of time. So I was not paid during this time. So that's just months after months. You just pay expenses after expenses, and you see your saving going down slowly, which motivates you in one way, actually, to set up as fast as possible and start generating some revenues. Having said that, when I first started, I set up my business, finally got a very small office with one desk on the middle. I hired someone who also was a friend of mine with like years of experience in recruitment. And we were working in this small office with no window, 2 computers, and we were working day and night to try to generate revenues. And that was I remember getting my license on the 5th of August, 2008. So working day and night for a month, 2 months. We started being like very successful, starting making placements. But unfortunately, a couple of months later, we experienced the worst financial crisis, one of the second worst financial crises of the century. Which is not amazing for recruitment business.
No, because that's usually the first thing that stops is let's stop recruiting. Okay. And how did you decide in terms of whether you set up a company in a free zone or mainland? What was can you tell us a little bit more? Because it's, a lot of people hear about those free zones and mainland. You need to find a sponsor and all these things is a bit confusing sometimes for people. What are the choice here do you have? Can you simplify this choice for us?
This process, yes, basically depends on the type of activities that you want to see on your license. Certain type of activities only allows you to set up with a local partner. You can only and in that case, you need to register with DED, which is Dubai Economic Department. So I guess step one is just to have a clear idea of exactly the name of the activities you need to appear on your license. When you have that, then you check, is it available in mainland and is it available in free zone? In a lot of cases, it's going to be available in both. If that's not the case, basically that doesn't give you the choice. It's either free zone or mainland. So in case of recruitment, it was a little bit tricky in my case because they were very cold in giving recruitment license to non-Emirati entrepreneurs. But after a little bit of persuasion and a little bit of a fight, I finally managed to get the right type of license. But I would have never set up without the right type of license because it would have catch up with me at a later stage.
A lot of people, I think they make shortcuts just to get their teeth into something, get to start, and then they regret it later, don't they?
Absolutely. There is a lot of horror stories here in Dubai where people don't set up properly. The government run the first check after 1 year of trading, and with not the right, if the entrepreneur doesn't have the right type of paperwork, unfortunately, if in best case scenario they get fined and they manage to convert this license or their services, or otherwise they just shut down the business. So it's very important, it's critical to have the right type of license.
Thank you, Nico. And in terms of being an entrepreneur, what would you wish you knew before you started that now, but if you knew it when you started, perhaps things would have gone much faster for you?
I have so many examples that comes to my mind now, like from it's actually kind of ironic, but hiring the right type of individuals simply based on...
Tell us about a horror story about this story, because I think this is perhaps one of the most, people don't think about this. When we are new in terms of entrepreneurs, we just think, well, we're going to hire awesome people. They're going to love me. They're going to love my company and my idea. And they're going to come to work every day. They're going to work hard with me and we're going to conquer the world. That's what we think when we start, don't we? So tell us perhaps about one or two stories where you've had to face challenges in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first one that comes to my mind, I experienced everything. I experienced employees going to jail. I experienced me going in front of the court to try to pull out my own employees out of jail because I wanted them to generate revenues, and I helped them out as well on the human side. Everyone does mistakes, so I always thought that if you help someone, it would always come back to you at some point, which is not 100% the case as I experienced with certain type of individual. No, but the big failure. The big lesson, actually, is not a failure. I don't like to say that. The big lesson I've learned, I'm someone very analytics. When it comes to people, I don't like to judge. I believe that everyone deserves a chance. And I used to recruit based on experience. Oh, this guy is great. He's done this type of jobs. He's got 5 years of experience in a specific sector. But there was this gut feeling telling me, I'm not 100% sure I would enjoy working with this person. This gut feeling is probably the best advice that I can give to young entrepreneurs or people in general. Always listen to this gut feeling. If you don't, you would find out why later. You would find out why you had this gut feeling later. And this is probably, I don't even like saying that, because I like to understand why. I'm very analytical. I believe that someone can do a job, even if there is something that we don't comprehend on the side. Like, we should give the opportunity to this person. No, this gut feeling here we're talking about is critical. So recruitment, hiring the right people, and also managing these people. I've learned big time on management. I don't like to blame people. I think if someone is failing for a reason or another, this is my own fault as a manager. I could have done something different. I could have created a different work environment. I believe that managers saying, oh, this employee hasn't done his job or is not doing well. I believe that the right manager at the right time could have actually made this employee successful. So I think it's a two-way thing in a relationship, personal or professional. It goes both ways. And the big lesson that I've learned throughout my experience as well is the fact that I reflect not on my failures, but on things that didn't go too well, and I try to readjust when I have the opportunity to come to the same situation to make sure that I don't do the same mistakes again.
Thanks, Nico. That's gold tip, actually. That's a golden tip. Did you want to add something? Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I think, the key, one of the big lessons I learned in entrepreneurship is understand and recognize this moment where you already lived it, you made the wrong call, try to sit back, relax, think about what happened in the past in order for you this time to make the right decision.
Learn from your mistake quickly. Don't do it again and again and again and again. And then complain. Now, if you think about employees, professionals, what's the best tip you would give as an employer yourself that have seen great employees, that have seen employees that didn't fit with your company, that didn't do well? What would be the best advice you would give to perhaps the job seekers out there from an employer perspective? If they are struggling a little bit, they're not doing too well, they're not, progressing as fast as they want, what would you?
I want to start with, before I answer fully your question, with the mind frame. I think our audience, like a lot of people in our audience are French. So there is a big culture gap between the way we work in France and the way that we work here in the UAE. I would say I've seen a lot of candidates coming from France where they expect people to do things for them. But we are in a system in France where I believe that we are very lucky to have a lot of support for, maybe people would say less and less, but from our government, from the community, from the city that we live in. And here, we are on our own. Like, no one is going to come and save you if you fail. If you fail to repay your credit card, if you fail to, to meet your rent at the end of the month, you'll be evicted. You'll be evicted first of your home, and then you'll be evicted of the country if you cannot meet. So, I mean, this market here is a fight. It's an amazing fight. We are so lucky to be here. We have opportunities that we don't have back home, or that's back somewhere else in Europe or other parts of the world. There is a lot of things to be created and to be done here. We are lucky to be in this market, but that is ruthless. So hundreds of horror stories of people maybe who were unlucky also, or the people who didn't take their responsibilities. And unfortunately, when this situation come, people go back home. Like I was gonna say, like one hand in the front, one hand behind, and have to start again. So I mean, come here. That's great. Don't expect any help from anyone than yourself, and just fight. If you're a job seeker, don't send CVs and expect people to call you back. As a recruitment agent, I receive an average of 2,500 CVs a day. I'd love to reply to everyone, but I cannot reply to everyone. Employer the same. If you're a talent and acquisition manager, you maybe interview people face to face 8 hours a day. People don't have talent and acquisition manager, don't have the time to reply or even maybe to read every application coming into their mailbox. So keep that in mind and try to think, how am I going to make a difference to catch the attention of these employers? So it's not by sitting behind a computer and doing a mail shot of 1,000 people every day that people are going to get a job. It's about using your network, being different, being a little bit gutty as well. Sometimes pick up the phone, introduce yourself, maybe go through reception, leave a message, send a personal message. All these things, basically, this is a fight. We're in a jungle and only the best come on top.
Yeah. Thanks for this. Thanks. It's a little bit scary when you describe it this way. So you know, but in a way, I guess it's true, because back in people's home countries, sometimes there's, you know, things like unemployment services where, you know, if you lose your job, the government pays you a little bit for a few months or so. And you know, here it's, if you lose your job, you're out, period. You have 1 month on your visa to find a job. After that, you're out and you have to leave the country. So it's a completely, you know, it's better sometimes, you're right, to say things as they are. And because otherwise people get burned, don't they?
Basically, Hamza, I don't want to send a negative image. The only message I want to give here is that people think that they're going to book a plane ticket, come in a country and live in El Dorado.
Yeah.
And I don't want these people to think that they can make their own El Dorado. It's very easy, but it takes a lot of hard work. It's like entrepreneurship. I mean, if anyone thinks they can set up a business and don't work hard, this is probably the only component that is essential to any job seekers or any entrepreneur.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
I don't want people to get high hope that they're going to sit back, go to the beach every day and make like millions of dollars by doing nothing. No, this is a fight, but this is a beautiful fight. And you know what people call failures? They are not failures. They are life experience. So instead of moaning and say, "Oh, that happened to me. I'm so unlucky." No, embrace it. Oh, I came to this situation that didn't work out, but it doesn't matter. I found the solution to the next problem.
That's very inspiring. Thank you very much, Nico. Back to entrepreneurship. So, according to you, you know, what's the biggest mistake, the first mistake, the most common mistake that most entrepreneurs fall into? Why do they take either way too long to actually start generating a profit, or why is it that they don't succeed? Apart from running out of cash flow, right? That's just something that sometimes can happen if we miscalculate. But apart from that, what makes businesses succeed and what makes businesses not succeed?
I'm going to give you actually 3 components.
Okay.
I'm going to give you an answer in 3 stages. The first one is like, know what you're doing. I don't believe that anyone should start a business unless they are an investor and they are partnering with someone who has like really the experience. Don't start a business if you don't know what you're talking about. And that's why I wanted to give you a little bit of background about my own personal experience, because I experienced that in Europe, here in the UAE, as a supplier, as a client. And I had, when I started my business, 8 years of experience in a specific industry. And I knew what I had to do in order to be successful. So if you know your business, you're already going to have a picture in your head of how you're going to do things. If you don't have this picture and this image, your goal, there is no point of starting anything, because otherwise it's a direct failure. If you do, then assess the risk. And I always encourage people to actually take the risk, but this is a personal decision. There is too many components taken into consideration. I talked about family, personal savings, and there is all other components, competitions. Everyone knows how to do a business plan. So take all these components into place. And if you see like a pretty good picture, just go with it. I love entrepreneurship. I think this is a beautiful thing. And I really encourage people to set up their own business, but assess your risk is very important. The second point, when you have this picture, this goal, and you know how you're going to do it, start as soon as possible. Don't wait. It's like having a kid. It's never perfect. There is no perfect environment. There is no perfect time. It's never the right moment. And you're never 100% prepared. So when you have the basis covered, what's going to save you properly is the fact that you started early. And tests that give you the opportunity to show a proof of concept. You start slowly and you see if you have a response from the other side, if people are hooked to your idea. You see how people are reacting. You see if you can see it working in a practical, on a daily basis. So start as soon as possible is my second point. And the third point is I get a little bit burned at one point in the development of my organization and the associates that I increased cost too fast. So maybe I was at one point a little bit too arrogant. Maybe my ego started like playing tricks on me. But I did a big mistake in development of my organization. I spent a lot of money for a bigger office, a flashy office, like a space that I didn't really need at the moment. Keeping costs low by make sure that you basically receive the highest return on investments possible. So it's good to make some revenues, focus on sales, make as much business as possible. But on the other side, if you don't have profits at the end of the year, you cannot re-inject this profit into your business and then grow your business. And I get stuck for years because I didn't do that. I expanded a little bit too fast and I kind of get burned, which puts my whole business at one point as a risk. That's a mistake that I've learned from. So use every trick possible to keep your costs low.
Talking about mistakes that you learned from, tell us perhaps about one failure that really inspired you, to grow, to change, that to put something in place that's different, to a failure that changed things for you.
I think it was, on the middle of the crisis. So I explained a little bit earlier on that, I developed my business, worked very hard, the crisis hit, and all the business we built so far were just cancelled. So imagine, I worked for 5 months in my bedroom trying to set up this business. I worked day and night for about 2 months to start generating finally some profit with no income at all for 6, 7, 8 months. Finally, I become successful and the crisis drops. Huge blow in my face. So the biggest lesson that I learned was never resign. Just fight. I think there is always a time where it's wiser actually to let it go, but being resilient is probably one trait of character that most of successful entrepreneurs, I'm not saying I'm successful entrepreneurs, but if we listen
I know enough to say you are. Carry on.
If you listen to what very successful entrepreneurs have to say, they always tell you being resilient is part of the game. You're always going to face problems. You're going to face problems where you're not going to solve and sell your business the following day. It's about finding quick solutions and don't let it go unless the risk become way too high. Every entrepreneur faces this situation. They don't know if they're going to sort it the following hour, day, or month. So be resilient.
Well, thanks for that. That's really, really good tips, Nico. Really, I mean it. Look, sometimes we hear people that are, perhaps professionals, employees working for a firm, and they just say, I just want to. So, for example, they are lawyers or they are doing whatever, and they just say, oh my God, I just want to own my business. I want to open my restaurant, but they don't have experience. I think you touched on this earlier. What would you advise to people when you don't have experience in a future business? What would you advise them to do? If a very good friend of yours just said, look, my dream is to open a restaurant. I'm tired of this work jungle and, 9 to 5 and my manager and whatnot. I want to open my restaurant. What would you say?
I would say if you partner with someone, first of all, I want to know that he doesn't want to open a restaurant for the sake of making money and sitting at a table because he's comfortable. He needs to be passionate about food. And he needs to be the type of social person that can basically interact with all the clients on a daily basis and wake up every morning, select the product. So I want to see some passion in any type of venture. the other thing is that if you don't know anything about food, unless you partner with someone who actually does. So sometimes you find partnership between two entrepreneurs that works very well. You have someone who knows very well who's going to run the business and anything related to accounting, sales, promotions, marketing, clients, relations. That could be one partner but doesn't know anything about food. And then on the other side, you partner with a chef who's absolutely amazing, who's recognized, who's got years and years of experience. And the combination of the two together is amazing. But let's take these entrepreneurs who just want to open a restaurant. How is he going to set up his kitchen? How does he know about getting the right approval from Dubai municipality? Even if you know how to do it, you have certain measures. He's going to fall into every single trap that's going to come to them. So he needs to have the right licensing. He needs to set up certain things. He's going to spend time and money with contractors who maybe are going to set up part of the kitchen which is not conform to the local regulation. So he's going to have to break everything down and start again. So that's the kind of trap that I'm talking about. So first, passion is an element. Anyway, when we're an entrepreneur, we don't create an organization because we want to make money. It should not be a job. It should be a passion. So if you're passionate about what you're doing, okay, all right, look in that direction. And then know, again, one more time, know your subject or partner with someone that knows your subject.
It's really good tips again. Really, really true. And I completely concur with that. I think it's very important. A lot of people see entrepreneurship easier than what it really is. They're not ready for war. They're not ready for battle. They think that, well, no one has done that, right? No one has ever done that. It's a new idea. It doesn't exist. And they jump and they don't realize, that they're actually going, into a war against themselves, don't they? And when you don't have the experience in the industry that you're throwing yourself into, it's going to be like a bloodbath, right? It's going to be, like you said earlier, you're going to fall into every single trap and you're going to suffer, lose money, waste time, and perhaps, affect other areas of your life as well. Not just finances, but other areas as well. So completely agree. So
let's just to interrupt, just to emphasize on the example you picked up earlier on. Imagine a business person who finally managed to go through all this red tape, set up his kitchen, his business, get the approval. If he comes to here, it would be a miracle. But he comes here and then he starts dealing with suppliers. The suppliers are going to use and abuse him. They're going to dictate the term of payments. They're going to sell them like products they want to get rid of instead of like receiving quality products. All these type of things come with experience. Someone who works in a restaurant knows all these tricks. He knows how to negotiate a contract with a supplier. If it was me today walking into a restaurant dealing with this supplier, I would have had no idea. I can do my research. It's going to take a little bit longer, but I don't know practically how he works. So that's the type of tricks that we were talking about earlier on. 100%.
Thank you so much. So you've sold your company. This is perhaps the one part of the interview I really want you to share your experience in, because you decided at some point that we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but you had a different idea, and you're just an entrepreneur. Basically your company was doing well, and you decided to sell it. My question to you is, how do you prepare a company for sale? Because a lot of people can start. A lot of people can keep on struggling. Some days are good, some years are good, some years are not good, etc., etc. But how do you actually get to the point where you can say, hey, actually, I'm going to sell what I've built. It's worth something.
Yeah.
How do you build that?
So I would like to answer your question by first explaining the reason why I decided to exit my business. My passions shifted, and we come back to passion again. The business model that was very successful 10 years ago changed. So I think we need to change with the market. Everything is online. I believe that the way we used to offer services, certain organization, is changing very fast with the development, for example, of LinkedIn and other social media and platforms that help organizations recruit faster, better. And I wanted to contribute to that. So that was the first point. And also, after 10 years of running and managing this business, I was working with the most amazing. I'm still working, actually. I have a couple of months left on my contracts now. And I'm between two ventures. But this passion shifted, and I wanted to make sure that we were moving with the market. And for me, I wanted to offer something different. I think it's very important. If we want to be successful, we need to evolve with the market. People who don't do that get stuck in the past. And then things drags and become worse and worse and worse. So I decided to create something different, something that I believe is amazing. That's my next project. I can tell you a little bit about it.
Sure, we're going to talk about this. But first, you decided to sell your company, right?
Sell. So the way that I prepared this sale was very simple. Basically, if a company doesn't make profit, it almost has no values. Yes, the value. People always ask you questions about who are your clients. So you can name. I had at the time. When you say
people, you mean potential buyers to your business?
Sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Potential investors and potential buyers ask you different type of question there. They want to know the value of your business, and they go through a process called valuation, and for that they do a due diligence. So they ask you the main criteria. They want to know who your clients are, who are you working with on a regular basis. They want to know some analytics about your business together to see your profitability, for example. I think it's very important for any type of business to keep a clear accounting across the year, because you can show the evolution. And in that case, if you get your financials totally audited by a firm which is approved by the government, there is no further questions. You know that this is clear, this is clean, and they know what they are purchasing. So getting order in the financials are very important. And of course, you need to sell. I think in order to make some money on exit, you need to sell when the business is taking off and is profitable. But the way that is calculated, basically your value, I'm just going to give like a rough idea of the way that it's working. But you take a ratio of your profit and you multiply it by, depending on the sector or the type of business, a factor. So it could be, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15 times the profit of the year before. So in order to prepare your business for an exit, you need to make sure that everything is in order, everything is organized. You can clearly show some figures, some clients, and profit, of course, at the end of each year.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, I was going to ask you the typical questions a buyer or an investor would ask you, but you mentioned them. I think you said the profit. You said what type of clients you work with. What else? Do you think about anything? Any other question that you really have to prepare?
Yeah, of course. Going through a due diligence is very long. Actually, there is. You need to share your P&L. You need to give every single details about your employees, their own performance.
So P&L is profit and loss statement.
Profit and loss. Yes, absolutely. So, you need to. I don't know. Like, due diligence is a very long list of documentation to give from. Your operating costs, the salaries, the commission structures, and not only fixed figures, but an evolution and a track record. What else? You need to give documents such as all necessary insurance, of course, your trade license, any type of debts towards maybe banks or any type of collections planned for the next few months. But I don't want to go too much into details because I don't want to start boring people.
Yeah, no, these are just paperwork. That's very, very nice. Thank you. Essentially, it's not just, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to put an advert out and people are going to start ringing me and I'm going to sell it. Does it take time to sell or not really?
I guess it depends on the type of activities, the type of business, if the activity of the business is in demand or not. It depends on the economy at a specific point of time. In my case, it took me about 6 to 8 months from beginning to the end. And I would say there is no no winning formula. I cannot tell you, oh, by doing this, this, and this, you're going to sell your business. Let's say there is a healthy business to be sold. There is different way of doing it. Once again, as an entrepreneur, and I never went through this process myself, and I realized that I needed some help from what we call here M&A consultants, or merger and acquisition consultants, who went through this process of like thousands of sales of different businesses. So they know the tricks. When we negotiate a contract, and this is key, even if it costs a little bit of money, it's very important to get advice from professionals. The same way that I advise my client to use my services in order to headhunt the best professional in the market, I recognize that I also needed help from a consultant specializing in acquisition and merger and the sales of businesses in a local market. And I search online, find a couple of people, organize few meetings, ask for a quotation, ask a lot of questions to understand the process and the tricks to avoid. You educate yourself along the way, and I believe this is a life an entrepreneur. I went through a first exit for the first time. I didn't know anything about that. I did a little bit of research to make sure that I was preparing my business for exiting, to make sure I was in a good position, in a good buying negotiation. I had the weights in the negotiation. Otherwise, when it comes to contractual agreements, people need help. Because it's not simple, and there is millions of tricks not to fall into. Because at the end of the day, if someone doesn't do this process properly, in my case, I worked with ND and Associates for 10 years. So this is 10 years of my life.
ND and Associates is your recruitment company, ndassociates.com, right?
Yes, absolutely. nd-associates.com.
Sorry.
Yes. This is for an entrepreneur is a very important step. Basically, you capitalize at this point. You made a lot of efforts. You had like millions of sleepless nights, so much stress, so much pressure. There is months where you don't pay yourself anything because you need to go through like a little bit of a low. And this is the time where you capitalize. So it's very important not to make any mistakes from here. So even if it's a little bit expensive, take the advice from a consultant to get the experience selling businesses.
Thanks for that. Really, really important. You told me something really I won't forget for a long time once. You said that actually when you speak to a potential buyer, investor, it's really how passionate you are about your business that sells. It's you. People want to perhaps really be convinced by your energy, by your really belief in your own business. Sometimes people just answer questions, just submit documents. What does the you part, does it play a role in selling a business?
Yeah, but it could be tricky. It could go both ways. Because, because if you, for me, it was a little bit my case. I wanted to exit the business a little bit faster than I did. And having said that, the connection you have with your clients and this energy you communicate every single meeting you go to is basically also part of the value of the business. So it's very important to make sure you set up a business not associated to the image of one individual, but to put some clean processes in place in order to make the exits a little bit smoother and faster. In my case, I built a business that I sold some people who are absolutely amazing. I'm very glad I sold it to them, and I had other choices, but we can talk about choosing your investor later on when you have different offers. This is very important. But in my case, yes, maybe the business was relying a little bit too much on me and my image and the personal relationship that I had with some of my clients. Very important long-term clients, where basically maybe as an entrepreneur it's important to focus a little bit more on the system to make sure you have a business that runs with or without you in the same
Thanks for that. So what have you done after the sale? You said you were transitioning, your passion shifted. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about this new venture that you're working on? Is it confidential?
No, I can talk about it absolutely. I mean, you're going to feel the passion in a second. So basically, I wanted to change the way that the recruitment industry is working here. So I apologize for all job seekers over there. This is a venture which is for business to business. I wanted to help organizations and recruitment consultants by developing a tool, a software available online, free for both parties. For an entrepreneur to be able, for a business to be able to post a job online, and for the first time in the market, choose the fee that is ready to pay for a successful recruitment service. And then it can go out there, the platforms type of directory for business professional of headhunters, such as you come from this background also, like yourself, myself, and like thousands of other headhunters in the market, to be able to create a profile and work on this position without having to do cold calling, business development, and I wanted to improve the image of recruitment consultants in the market and allow them, by developing this tool, to focus more on what they are supposed to do initially, which is focus on identifying and qualifying professionally suitable candidates, and present only the best of the best to their clients, instead of spending, in some cases, 60-70% of the time making calls to try to acquire new business.
Business development, basically. So what you're offering is saying, hey, you guys are recruiters, you should be recruiting, period. Leave the business development to us, just sign up to our platform, and we're going to, be one platform for all the employers to post their jobs, and for you guys to recruit the best talent. So employers don't waste time speaking to each recruitment company, negotiating contracts, different contracts, I guess, and all this headache. They actually have this centralized platform. They just sign up, everything is easy, and they start recruiting, and they get huge return on their money because they don't waste time with legal, with negotiation, they just submit profiles, they choose their own, complete control. So you literally creating this. You've seen this a lot, actually, Nicolas, with perhaps food companies. You have a lot of platform for food companies that gathers, everyone in the industry, and it makes it easier than a Google search. Is this similar? So are you doing this between recruitment companies and employers now?
100%. It's very similar. Basically, if any organization want to hire, they can sign up to Recvolt, post a job online, and for the first time choose how much they are ready to pay. And then the recruiters, with a minimum of 1 month's salary to make sure that the market doesn't just collapse. But and don't waste any time. In 5 minutes, you have a job online, and you have the best headhunters working on this position. Because at the moment, an employer posting a job online receives like thousands and thousands of applications. I still believe that headhunters and recruitment professionals have a huge part to play in the market, but they need a tool to facilitate this relationship between employers and recruiters. Completely. Thank you so much. How did you say it was called? Recvolt. So
REC, Rec for recruitment, okay. So recvolt.com, recvolt.com. So there you go, guys. If you guys are headhunters or employers, Recvolt, do you have to pay to sign up to Recvolt?
Absolutely not. It's free. The sign up is free. The only commitment we ask are from the employers. If they are hired through the services of the headhunters, of course, make sure that they pay the fee that they indicated in your job posting. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Nicolas, for spending so much time with us, sharing so many tips, so much information, because honestly, it's the kind of interview I sincerely believe that you should watch more than once, because the content was so rich. There was so many things that anyone that's new to entrepreneurship, would benefit from rewatching it, because there's no way you would remember everything at the end of. So hopefully, this interview will be taken also as a course, as a way to rewatch from time to time, to take notes and to benefit from this. Thank you so much. Any last word before we go?
Yeah, just want to say good luck to everyone who decide to make the step. Setting up your business is something absolutely amazing. It's a lifetime experience. If the conditions are right, if you believe in your project, please go ahead with it. Because if you don't, you would regret it for the rest of your life. You would always think, what if I did that at this time? Or when I was 30 years old, I had this opportunity, I didn't do it. So assess the risk, but if you believe that this is something that has potential, that you're passionate about, that this is the right time, and you've done your homework, just go ahead and best of luck with it.
Oh, thank you so much. On behalf of everyone that's going to watch and listen, thank you so much, Nicolas. That's all for today, guys. Listen, I really hope you enjoyed our interview today with Nicolas Deflaux. If you want more information about his current venture, it's called Recvolt.com. So if you're an employer or a headhunter, you go to Recvolt.com. Check it out. See if it's going to add value to you. It's free, so what you have to lose. And if you are a job seeker, you can also always go to nd-associates.com, nd-associates.com. I hope I'm getting this perfectly right, Nico. And you can sign up and you know, they have jobs on their website and etc. So thanks again, Nico. Thank you very much. And hopefully we hope to actually have you soon again for perhaps a different angle, a different part of this was a bit general, and I think it was very relevant in terms of new entrepreneurship for setting up a business, and hopefully we'll have opportunities to go more in depth on one or the other topic.
I'd love to.
Thank you very much, Nico, and wish you the very best with what you're doing, and we speak super soon. Guys, thank you very much, and I will see you next week for another show. Bye, guys.